Well, I know who I'm playing in fantasy week 1. Don't know about any of the other weeks, but week 1. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, a podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Sammy Watkins, goes fast, Grossi, and breaking news. The Green Bay Packers have begun to address the wide receiver gap on their team by signing 28-year-old wide receiver Sammy Watkins. And shout out to the Packers subreddit for breaking this news long before anybody else, because somebody knew a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who said that they were going to sign him, and there you go. Just they remain undefeated. But I see a lot of reactions to this news. I see a lot of dunking going on in which they're like, oh, you guys lost Davante Adams and you're replacing him with Sammy Watkins, which is not the case at all. People already making the week 1 jokes and saying he's not going to play a full season. I'm hearing it all already, and even from Packers fans who are looking at this at a very lackluster signing. And I don't think that this is a signing that is going to get everyone like, woo, this is going to be amazing, though Aaron Rodgers himself said that he's excited to work with Sammy Watkins. He apparently spoke to him last night, as Pat McAfee reported. So there is some buzz that's going on with this, and I think overall, it's a solid signing for the Green Bay Packers, and one that they kind of had to do. There are still other veterans out there like OBJ, you have Julio Jones who's hanging out, you have Jarvis Landry. However, when it comes to the speed, absolutely Sammy Watkins is going to bring that speed to the Packers. And being only 28 and being able to pass a physical, the Packers think that this guy could at least add some value to this team. Now, this is the 5th team for Sammy Watkins, of course, starting with Buffalo, then he went to the Rams, then he went to the Chiefs, then he spent a year with the Ravens, and now he finds himself on the Packers. And he found himself a nice role as the number 3 with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, is he going to be a number 1 for the Packers? Absolutely not. And I think the comparison saying that he's going to replace, or he's there to replace Davante Adams is just dumb, because that's just not what it is. If you think that they got Sammy Watkins and go, okay, we're all done now, we're set, maybe we'll draft a guy in the 5th round and that'll be it. That's not going to be a thing, because there is going to be no replacing of Davante Adams with one player. Hell, even if you brought a Julio Jones or an OBJ in, I don't think that replaces Davante Adams. And so what this is this maybe replaces MVS, but it gives Matt LaFleur what he wanted, as he stated a while ago, that he wanted some guy with speed and who is going to be able to stretch the field. And Sammy Watkins, at bare minimum, when he's on the field, is able to do that. Now, Sammy Watkins had a great week 1 last year. He had 4 receptions for 96 yards, and then, of course, it started to fall off. He only started 9 games, had 49 targets, 27 receptions, 394 yards, and 1 touchdown. And if you look at his stats for the past few years, they're not great. And as I mentioned before, injuries are constantly an issue with Sammy Watkins, and heading into Green Bay, that's going to be something they're going to need to keep an eye on. On top of that, you look at Randall Cobb, as he's getting older as well. But again, I don't think that this is a problem, because it's a 1-year deal and it's up to $4 million. So the risk is super duper low. So even if Sammy Watkins just plays a few games, okay, they missed out on a very low risk contract. It's not the end of the world. However, the value that he could bring, and I'm not even saying as a pass catcher, I'm just saying as a guy who could stretch the field and it makes defenses have to account for him, it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, I don't think this is going to impact the Packers draft strategy too much, but it does give them a little bit of flexibility. If maybe they don't need to go and get a speedster right away, they can go after their prototypical Packers wide receivers, guys who, they have decent speed, but they're more big-bodied pass catchers. And again, there are plenty of concerns here. The guy hasn't started a full 16-game season since his rookie year. There's plenty of concerns, but I think we also need to just keep it within the context of this is not a breaking the bank kind of signing that would come with a guy like OBJ, most likely. Jarvis Landry wants a ton of money, and Julio Jones, who knows what's going on with Julio. But the good thing is they signed a veteran receiver who's been around the league for a long time. It adds some experience to that room, in which likely is going to be a very young wide receiver room after the Packers address the position in the draft. In addition, Matt LaFleur already has a relationship with Sammy Watkins, because when he was there for a year with the Rams, Matt LaFleur was the offensive coordinator. And so I think that there's nothing wrong with this signing because at the bare minimum, it doesn't work out. The Packers really didn't lose any money. And I think there's a ton of upside here because bare minimum, the guy is going to stretch the field and allow other guys to get open. We're talking about a new offense that's going to be in place for Matt LaFleur. And what I mean by that is that Rodgers is going to have to get used to not targeting just one wide receiver. He's going to have to spread the ball around, and to have a speedster for however long he's going to be healthy, it's not the worst thing in the world. So a 1-year deal up to $4 million. I like the signing, and hopefully he can stay healthy. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel about the Packers signing Sammy Watkins? I imagine they are not done. They could potentially dip their toe into free agency some more, but I imagine they're really going to build this entire room through the draft. Let me know. You guys send me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.